Hey guys, how's it going? I've decided to do a new video. This one is about the top 5 most effective Dragon Ball techniques. Now, just so you guys are aware, I was originally going to do a top 10, but it was kind of difficult to determine techniques beyond just 5. And not only that, this video alone took me about, like, when everything was compiled, it's about like 15 minutes, or almost 15 minutes, just over 14 or so. And you'll notice that generally the effective techniques tend to be the ones that are just used over and over again, and doing a top 10 would have kind of been pointless. Uh, so yeah, I decided to do a top 5 instead. And I think you're going to recognize all of them, but I'll just basically explain why all of them are so effective. Anyway, coming in at number 5, we have Solar Flare. Yes, that's right. It's the technique that originated, I think, with Tien. But if you watch the series, both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, then you know why Solar Flare has to be up here. It's of all the purely, let's say, tactical techniques, in other words, not beam attacks or transformations or any of that, or teleportation techniques, this is definitely the most effective. Basically, it blinds the enemy for a short period of time with an intense beam of light that radiates from the person's face, I believe. And it's been used by, and it's so effective that it's been used by a variety of users, including not only Tien, but also Goku, Krillin, and even villains such as Cell, and I'm trying to remember whether or not Majin Buu was able to do it. Probably not, but the fact that multiple people use the same technique, and because of its effectiveness throughout the series, like for example, we saw Goku using it against, wait, did he use it against Raditz? Well, I think he used it against Piccolo, but Krillin also used the technique definitely against Dodoria and against Frieza. And it was so effective that Goku continued to use it even in GT, if those of you who count GT. Anyway, coming in at number 4, we have Instant Transmission. Now, in case you're wondering why I ranked this higher than Solar Flare, it's because, sure, like, not as many Z Warriors know it, but that's because it wasn't taught to them. And Goku's proven that it's actually somewhat more effective than Solar Flare for a couple of reasons. One, you can teleport to vast distances very quickly. 2, you can use it in battle like Solar Flare, except you can pair it with things like Kamehameha. And it actually turns out to be more effective than if you were to just Solar Flare somebody and do Kamehameha, because you can basically sneak up on them. And the known users are Goku, Cell, and Majin Buu. That's really about it. So that's probably, I mean, that's a more exclusive list than some of these other techniques, but it's still very effective. For example, another reason why it's very effective because he can, for example, avoid certain dangers, such as when Cell did that massive Kamehameha that was about to hit Goku, but Goku used instant transmission to avoid it. Also, Goku needed that in order to teleport Cell away from the Earth. So it's safe to say, had it not been for instant transmission, the Earth would be destroyed. Also, of course, Cell used it to get back to Earth, so that's another bad but still effective use for it. Goku also used instant transmission in order to show up to help Gohan against Super Buu. And then finally, Kid Buu used it in order to get to the Supreme Kai planet. So it's safe to say this is definitely more effective than Solar Flare for the reasons that I listed. Anyway, coming in at number 3, we have Kamehameha. Now, this honestly was a bit difficult ranking between Kamehameha and instant transmission, but I think I can explain why this one is slightly edges out. First of all, it's been in the series longer, and it's been used by more characters and just almost as effectively as instant transmission. It was started by Master Roshi. Goku was the second known user, then Krillin, and then others such as Yamcha and let's see, could Tien use it? Well, I know Yamcha could use it, and others later down the line, including Gohan, Goten, possibly Kid Trunks. Let's see, Cell and Majin Buu. They're all the known users, I believe. I'm not counting fusions, by the way. Anyway, this technique has been invaluable so many times. Roshi used it to extinguish the flames of that castle. Goku used it oh so many times, like in Dragon Ball alone he used it against Raditz, so it wasn't as effective, but still. He used it against Vegeta, which was needed in order to counter Vegeta's attack. He used it against... I suppose some people say that he used it against Frieza to finish him off. He used it against Cell a few times. He used it against Majin Buu. And heck, even Krillin used it against certain villains. And you could even say that its most important use was probably when Gohan used it against Cell. Had it not been for that, Cell might have possibly destroyed the Earth. But then Cell also used the Kamehameha to confront Gohan and to try to destroy the Earth. So that's how you can also point to the Kamehameha as being very effective and prevalent technique. That even Cell found a use for it. And Cell even mentioned he knew a lot of techniques, including some from Nappa and Frieza and such. But notice how he usually stayed to using moves like the Kamehameha wave. And I believe he used it even in his imperfect form as well as his perfect forms. And of course we've seen how both Goku and Gohan had a very good use for the Kamehameha. So that's also something to consider. So I think for all of those reasons and because of all the users, I would say it's slightly is above instant transmission, though instant transmission could supersede it in some ways. And I also want to mention that Goku used it in GT a few times as well. So that goes to show you that it's so effective that he decided to keep using it even into the GT era. Coming in at number 2, we have... Now this might surprise a lot of you, but I think even more effective than Kamehameha, but slightly again, is King Kai's interplanetary communication. Now we first saw him use it when Goku first went on King Kai's planet, but it's been invaluable in a various number of ways. First of all, they managed to contact the Earth to let people know that Goku was coming back, which is one of the reasons why they kept up hope. It was also used for in order to bring Piccolo back, and he was invaluable to fighting Frieza. It was also once again used for Goku to coach Gohan to stay in the Kamehameha battle, which was also invaluable. Once again, it was used for Vegeta to talk to the entire planet, and I guess you could argue Hercule as well. And that's what ultimately ended up defeating Buu, because they gathered the energy they needed to destroy Majin Buu once and for all. And sort of a minor note, but still it counts, is King Kai contacted Vegeta in Battle of Gods and told him about Beerus's arrival. That's just a little bonus thrown in there. Anyway, coming in at number 1, we have... That's right, Super Saiyan. I'm sure most of you saw this coming, but I mean, what can you say? It's Super Saiyan. After a certain point, it became invaluable in the series. Now, sure, in some ways it wasn't as important as interplanetary communication, and it doesn't allow, like, transportation abilities in and of himself. But I think it's safe to say that without Super Saiyan, there's certain enemies that the Z-Warriors just couldn't have fought. Basically, any enemy who's stronger than Frieza, they would have been absolutely no match for. We first see Super Saiyan with Goku, then we see it with Future Trunks, then Vegeta, then Future Gohan, then, you know, our time Gohan, then finally Goten and Trunks. Now, Super Saiyan is a big deal because it increases your power overall dramatically, which allows the Z-Warriors to fight characters who were massively stronger than them. And basically to show you just how effective Super Saiyan was, whenever they reached a new level of Super Saiyan, they usually surpassed, at least temporarily, their opponents. Such as, for example, Goku was much weaker than Frieza when he first fought him, but when he turned Super Saiyan, he actually became stronger than Frieza. And then, same thing, I guess you could say for Trunks, but when Vegeta became a Super Saiyan, he became much stronger than Android 19 and 20. And then when he became Super Vegeta, he surpassed, Semi-Perfect Cell. And when Gohan became Super Saiyan 2, he surpassed Perfect Cell, and even Super Perfect, some would argue. And when Goku became Super Saiyan 3, he surpassed Majin Buu and such. So I think it's safe to say that Super Saiyan should definitely be considered the most important technique in the entire series, even though only Saiyans were able to use it. And of course the known users are everyone I mentioned before: Goku, Trunks, well, both Trunkses, both Gohans, Vegeta, and Goten. Again, not counting the fusions. Although if you do count the fusions, it helped them in their fusions even more. Because when Gotenks fused at base form, he wasn't really able to fight Fat Buu. But when he became Super Saiyan 3, he was fighting on par with Super Buu. And when Goku and Vegeta fused to become Vegito, at least if we base it more off the manga, when he became Super Vegito, he was making Buuhan look like a joke. And then finally we have, if you guys want to count Battle of Gods, Goku reaches Super Saiyan God, which actually has him fight on par with Beerus. Now let's be honest, without Super Saiyan, would he have gotten that far? Of course not. Even he admits that. So, for all the reasons I've listed, as well as the many that I didn't have time to get into, Super Saiyan, I feel, is the most effective technique in the series. And that's basically just on the way Toriyama wrote the story. Now, don't get me wrong, like, all of these techniques are very, very important. But it's safe to say that none of these techniques would even be that effective if the characters, well, the main heroes, didn't know Super Saiyan, or they weren't able to reach the highest levels of Super Saiyan. And there's a reason why, after a certain point, they weren't able to fight that many opponents without Super Saiyan. Because Super Saiyan is just that effective. It makes all these other techniques that much more effective. That's why Super Saiyan is number one among the most effective techniques. Oh, one last thing is, notice how most of these techniques are those that Goku has learned. But anyway, that's just one final note. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think, and see you guys later.